Is it possible that this film is better than the legendary Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jingle, and today we're checking out Deranged.
Several years ago, I covered firsthand the incredible story you are about to see recreated in this motion picture. It is a human horror story of ghastly proportions and profound reverberation.
Oh man, that scene with him wearing the skin on his face, that was wild. So this is Deranged. It was released in March of 1974, and it's loosely based on the serial killer Ed Gein, who was also the inspiration for the legendary Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, believe it or not, these movies both came out the same year, but Deranged actually came out 7 months before Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the movie starts off the same way by saying that this is absolutely true, but the names and locations have been changed. And overall, this film it's so unsettling and raw and exploitive, just like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I absolutely loved it. Now, this was just put out on 4K for, I believe, the first time ever from Vinegar Syndrome as part of their subscriber week releases. And I decided to subscribe to Vinegar Syndrome for the very first time this year. And I've checked out 2 out of the 3 of their new releases, and they're 2 for 3 right now. This movie absolutely blew me away. It's so unsettling, and it has this funeral music score that just plays throughout that adds to the tone so much. It's so creepy. Now, this story revolves around a man named Ezra Cobb, who is actually played by Robert Blossoms. Now, that name probably doesn't sound familiar to you guys, but let me show you a picture of what he looks like in this movie. So this is Robert Blossoms in Deranged. Now, looking at him, you might not recognize him, but if I were to show you this, I bet you that you do. Now, he also played Old Man Marley in the 1991 classic Christmas movie Home Alone, which is just wild to me. Seeing their pictures right next to each other, you can totally see it, which is it's just crazy to me that he was doing horror movies before he was in Home Alone. But he absolutely kills it in this role. His performance is so unsettling, and he plays a psychopath so well. And another thing about this movie that's really interesting to me and makes me like it even more is that the special effects were actually done by Tom Savini, who is the legendary makeup artist that did Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, and Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th movie. And he was the makeup guy on this movie, and it was actually the second film that he ever did. Now, interestingly enough, the director of this movie was Bob Clark, who is also known for directing Black Christmas, the original slasher movie. That guy pioneered the slasher genre for us horror fans, and it's so, like, that movie is so legendary, and knowing that he directed this makes me like it even more. Now, Tom Savini talks about on the special features about meeting Bob in a bar and showing him his portfolio, and 2 days later, he was on the set of Death Dream, which was his first movie that he ever did, and then he did this one next. Now, this movie only has an 83-minute runtime, so it's a fairly quick watch, and it goes by so fast. It's so, like, I just find myself getting lost in it. It's a period piece to its time, and like I said, I was just blown away. Now, the main character, he has a mother, so he basically lives alone with his mom, and she's dying, and she's basically made him afraid of the world. She tells him that women are evil, and that they'll do nothing but give him diseases or anything like that, but there's a very disturbing scene at the beginning involving Soup and the death of her mother that you guys have to see to believe it. And basically, after his mother passes away, he has a really hard time dealing with her death. So the loneliness pushes him into madness, and he decides to bring his mother home. Now, take that as you will, but he becomes obsessed with the fact of basically bringing people back to his house that have already passed away. But it's really unsettling, and there's some really gory scenes that look so real, and it looks like a snuff film basically, and it really got under my skin, guys. I think you should really check it out. This one went under my radar forever, and I'm usually not super into like the 70s horror movies because they're a little like raw and real to me, but this one absolutely blew me away. Now, the transfer on this film is absolutely amazing with tons of film grain. It looks so beautiful. I know that Kino Lorber and Arrow put this release out in the past, and I think it's had some DVD releases, but from what I was reading, the transfer of this movie, it was actually lost for 20 years, and then it was discovered and put out on VHS, which is really interesting to me. Now, let's dive into the special features on this because it's stacked. So it has 2 discs. On the first disc, you get the 4K restoration and commentary, and the Blu-ray disc, you get everything on the 4K disc. Plus, you get Very Unnatural Deaths, an interview with special effects Tom Savini, which I watched, and it was amazing. It was a fun time, an interview with actor Brian Smegel, Disturbed, Demented, Deranged, an interview with Nightmare USA author Stephen Thrower, the Making of Deranged, an archival documentary. Now, this one's so interesting to me. Seeing an archival documentary from the 70s is wild. You also got an interview with producer Tom Carr, and there's also an introduction to the film by Tom Savini. And watching Tom Savini talk about this, he seems very proud of it, which is really, really cool. Now, this is the release here. Let me get this off the screen so you guys can see this. This is the release that Vinegar Syndrome put out. It's got really awesome artwork. It says Deranged, The Confessions of a Necrophile, and then you got just the regular picture of Ezra on the back. And then it has a reversible slipcover. I reversed it to the alternate art. Now it says, Pretty Sally Mae died a very unnatural death, but the worst hasn't happened to her yet. Deranged, The Confessions of a Necrophile. So yeah, guys, this one really surprised me. I absolutely love this film. I think you guys should pick it up if you haven't, because the transfer was amazing, and if you love 70s exploitation cinema, you're going to love this one. That's all I got for you guys today. Before I go, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I've got a lot more physical media reviews, movie reviews, and figure unboxings coming down the line. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.